So one of the more annoying parts of making this game is this very process right here. That is converting these slopgen images into uh, tile game assets. And I thought it might be interesting to record, or fuck knows. Yeah. So if I go resize canvas, two thousand. Like this, then and the tiles are 32 by 16 for two tiles at once. And let's see if we have anything salvageable. And it's really just barely. But I will try to run with it. And these are just Halloween decorations for the next level. Should be 16 by. So just like that. Hopefully we have something that's um, passable. Like a nice granite or something. So something like that. is tile set. And this will have to be placed very carefully. Okay. And then I want this one. It's hard to tell what I'm looking at. This just goes here. And I think that's the only land tiles I've used. Just for fun, we'll transfer over this one. Never mind. So what's funny about this is the homeowner can't even fit down to the basement. So I'm having to drill down. And even then I still can't fit. But what's interesting is I can climb up by using rockets. Quite fun. Kind of a discovered mechanic. So anyways, wow, I ran out of rockets. Yeah, so at this point in time, I've created quite a lot of new game assets. And added, let's see, yet, but I've added quite a few tiles to a separate file. And just as you would do with weapons, weapon tiers and enemy tiers, what I've done is I've balanced out the vehicle system a little bit. So let's just take a look at what we're working with. Of course, right now we're on cheat mode, so we're not gonna die, but we'll run through the level. So now we have the sword and a rifle and 1,000 rockets, just for fun. And then we get the machine gun. And we kind of motivate the idea of different balance in weapons. The rifle shoots far and hard, but the machine gun shoots short but fast, and the same kind of idea is going to carry over to the different kinds of vehicles. So you have your very basic helicopter that just flies around for the sole purpose of transportation and takes some damage from enemies. Then you have this next tier helicopter, which is very maneuverable, a lot of acceleration, and a somewhat higher top speed, as well as a mounted machine gun, which has a little more range and a little less speed than the player machine gun, but it allows you to at least deal with things like this. And on top of that, this particular helicopter offers damage reduction, so it's slightly armored. So you head over here, and normally you would die very quickly, but now you have something of a chance to take out these with the combination of range and armor. Get a little bit more chance, and so on. Then of course you have the starship with unlimited armor and unlimited rockets, and that's basically your kind of a cheat code of this game. It has I've reduced the maneuverability and the acceleration a little bit, but the top speed is still ridiculous. So it's faster than the machine gun helicopter, but less maneuverable. And finally, our final weapon is the hot air balloon. And what this gives you is a rifle with 5 times the range. But unlike the armored helicopters, this one reduces or increases your damage received, following the logic that in something like a hot air balloon you have a better bird's eye view, so therefore your rifle should have more range, but it also makes you an easier target, so you take more damage. So if we go like right here and go all the way up here, we should be able to finish them off. And as you notice, it flies like shit. Poor maneuverability, poor top speed. but in a sense, we have kind of completed all the different weapons we could possibly dream of. So then, the next thing I want to do is create unarmed zombies. The enemies are discriminated by their type and health, and so far I've been using this kind of a tier system. That is, enemies with machine guns are tier 1, enemies with rifles are tier 2. So if we want some kind of unarmed or sword wielding zombies, we just make that tier 3. So then let's head over to the load enemies and convert all the groups denoted by for loops into tier 3 enemies, that is, mindless zombies. And let me just get oriented and see what happens. Okay, so now they have swords. Okay. And I will opt to not draw it. So draw enemy guns. So if the enemy dot type is not equal to 3, then draw guns. Otherwise, don't bother drawing any guns. So they don't have any guns now, but they still shoot at you, and that's fine. Okay. So for tier 3 enemies, we are going to significantly reduce their range, increase damage frequency, and reduce damage magnitude as a way to simulate a kind of hand-to-hand combat from hoarding zombies. So enemy fire. So let's begin by giving them so the sword has a period of 50 and the machine gun has a period of 3. So we'll give him the period of a machine gun, but the range of a sword. Let's just see what happens here. Okay, here they are attempting to perform a melee attack, but they're too far away. But if they get close, then the particles come out, but still no damage. So here we'll do the damage of a sword. And let's just check on the damage of the sword. Okay, we'll do machine gun damage, because that's just too much. Here, look at this. So I killed the gunman. But the zombie stopped short of killing me. But if I come near, oh yeah, I lose damage very quickly. Unacceptably quickly. So that's nice. I can at least jump over a group of them to avoid damage. Otherwise, yeah, if you're in the middle of this kind of zombie attack, you do take a lot of damage, but only in short range. So let's then take a look at play enemy movement. And here's a common bug that you see that's fixed by restart. Yeah, I don't mind this. Here we've collected quite a few zombies. Let's see if there's any left over here. Of course there are. Here we are back at 100 health. Safe from any damage right here. So here we have a collection of zombies. If we jump right across them, let's see if there's any left straggling. Absolutely none left, so that indicates that they follow you indefinitely. So let's see what's happening here. So as you know, the hot air balloon attracts damage. What the fuck happened here? Fuck. Interesting. We can fix that vehicle coordinate issue. Just most importantly, have them follow and deal damage. So one obvious and immediate fix slash optimization that we can do is have the enemies follow and fire not at GX entity X, but rather the center of mass, so to speak. So what I'm thinking here is we keep this hitbox the same, but we introduce a handful of implicit temporary or even optimization variables. So if this is a player, what I'm gonna do is introduce variable x naught y naught, and then y naught width and height. So this x naught and y naught, in the case of a player, is just gonna copy over these variables as a sanity check, 7 and 5. And we know that our player is 16 wide and 20 tall. So then where it's most critical, entity x naught fuck am I doing? From the main helicopter, our body is somewhere around here. Let's call it 3514. On our second helicopter, our body is somewhere here. We can do 6424. For the next one, we're looking at something around there, 5527. And finally, the air balloon, we're looking at, I already know this, 3990. That's quite a brutal oversight. And yeah, of course, we're working with the same kind of structure here. So and here we don't need the width and height. And those are there all are nice and correct fixes. Of course, you see it hitting the entity box, and that's fine. That's just what we're dealing with. A limitation of the engine. Can't hit here, can't hit here. But if you get too close, of course, yeah. The fuck is that? And so we have that. Yeah, that's good enough. So, one last thing I want to make sure that I can do is, because this is a kind of light-hearted zombie horde type of level, what I want to be able to do is spawn a bunch of zombies, spawn a bunch of so-called tier 3 enemies, and the way I want to do that is take a look at the load enemies sub, and we see that I blindly create new enemies by incrementing the psi, and then at the end setting the upper bound. So all I should have to do is let's grab this 8. Let's say anytime we pass a barrel, we shall spawn let's call it like this: I equals U bound enemy and after I is incremented right here, we will here we can do gx entity x of player plus minus 25 times 4. And we can even call this gx entity y of player. And let's see what we have. Very quickly we kill him, jump over the barrel, kill him. So what happens? Yep, perfect. Cross a barrel. A barrel such as a gravesite or something of that nature. And we disturb a bunch of undead zombies. Okay. Let's even comment this. And then we'll repeat this for every barrel in the game. Just like that. And just like that. And so we make sure it works more than once at least. Just like that, yeah. And so pretend these barrels are gravestones, and every time you walk by, you disturb one and spawn a bunch of melee attacking zombies that perhaps aren't as dangerous as these gunmen or snipers, but get a lot of them at once and they deal a bit of damage. So just like that, I've already lost half my health. So then go here and I gain health, but then I accidentally fire rockets off and I lose health. And it's not adding too much difficulty, at the same time creating a nuisance. So I guess next we'll have to figure out, or rather at this point we can say that we have finished the spooky version of Steve Island. And all that's left to do is create a new and original and beautiful level with all the badass assets we've made. So having done all that, right now we'll just get to straight level design, because I definitely um, overestimated the amount of time and effort I was gonna put in this. I thought about really just redrawing or recoloring the old tile set, modding up the level and calling it a day. But as I got better at using this program, it turned out that it really wasn't a big deal. And so I had to do a bit of reading here on how to use this map maker and how to do these thin collisions, so to speak. And having played around with the map maker for a bit, having taken a look at Steve Island, I kind of got an idea of the size and dimensions that I want, the kind of theme and atmosphere. So that's on the way. And then, secondly, I took a couple of hours to do a little practice mock-up of like a 50 by 50 section of the level, of how it would look like in principle, and copying this tile set that I stole from Open Game Art, which was very well done and highly appreciated. I mocked up this little mansion slash castle, and then threw it up on our engine, and here we are. We're able to play this level and make sure that things work as expected, namely the stairs, banisters, whatever you want to call them. So they'll be able to shoot through these banisters, balconies. But on the other hand, they will not be able to shoot through either solid rock or solid dirt. So, having all that, we'll keep this as a handy reference, as well as this, and just begin making the fucking level. So I opted for 1500 by 200, which is about maybe a quarter bigger than Steve Island. And what I want to do is something not far off from B Plus's idea of going down trick-or-treating, going trick-or-treating down the street and encountering various houses. And we're gonna do something like, I don't know, Corey's cottage, maybe some dark forest graveyard, Walter's house, and finally Steve's castle. I decided to go with 4 layers. Initially, I wanted to do 6, but I noticed that there was maybe it's even noticeable here how there is a bit of tearing going on, performance issues. Reduce this a little bit. And so I could probably do it in 3 layers. Ideally, I'd want 6 layers, but 4 layers is a good compromise of convenience and performance. So let's begin. Okay, here we go. So this is gonna be Corey's house over here, and this will be the spawn. So just for convenience, let's place ourselves here at 900, 2500. That for this session, I could focus more on level design and map making and the thought process as well as the mechanical process behind it. But it turned out to be so fucking boring of just drawing a thing, testing it, fixing mistakes and oversights. Man, it was just very time consuming and repetitive, and not really much, or rather, not something I'm interested in putting the effort for, unless I had like an editor that could take a fucking 3 hour file and boil it down. But anyways, the level is complete and the game is released and it's playable, it works and all that. So at this point, all I'm gonna do is record a playthrough and call it that. So let's get started. So you spawn in with a sword, you walk around, see that there's something here, but we'll get to that later and we'll just go forward and see what happens. Pass some stones and we notice that these gravestones spawn enemy zombies. So we show up at this house. Here we get a rifle. Note the walls and the banisters here. Here we have a guard tower. We quickly clean it up with a rifle. We descend here. Another guard tower. And if you walk past the door, you spawn in some enemies as well as here. Another shack being guarded. And of course some of these gravestones spawn enemies, but you can just jump over them if you want to. And now I'm becoming very low on health, so hopefully I don't die so I don't have to do this 50 fucking times over. And I know not to walk past this door. So these things give you bonus health, which isn't limited. Kinda like the adrenaline in Quake 2. And here we approach one of the first main castles, the so-called Deboxer residence. And here we're gonna have to be somewhat careful. And this is a wall that you can't get through, so you have to climb up. And here you have a wall as well. Clean out the guard towers. So as you can see, you can't shoot through walls, but you can shoot through banisters. Part of the mechanic here. So as we know, here is a wall, so he can't hit me, but And because the rifle is biased in range, you get an edge on the enemies just by being able to see them before they can shoot you. So here you get a bunch of bonus health, as well as a helicopter, which you'll gladly take. And here you get a machine gun. So we'll take the helicopter just to save some time. And we make it to Walter's base. And here you could just just walk right through here. But if you want to see what's going on above, yeah, you get a bunch of machine gunners that are quite a handful. So let's lure these enemies into the lake. Fuck. Make sure they're dead. So then we'll keep going. And note here, there's quite a few gravestones, and I know that some of these spawn quite a bit of enemies, so I'll just hover over them with the helicopter here. And we encounter Steve's castle, which is the most dangerous part of the map. So you know that there's a wall here that you can't get through, and if you go up, it's well defended from aerial attacks, so gotta be careful here. Yeah. So the few ways you can beat this is you can either infiltrate Steve's castle from the air, which I'll show later, or you can do it from the ground by mining a tunnel underneath. So just like that. And you're in this kind of castle courtyard place with a very high wall. So you keep going and you're confronted with a staircase and another wall right here, and we can also breach this wall with the rockets, just like that. And you end up here, another tall wall situation, but here, if you're quite skilled, you could actually rocket jump this. Fuck. You can't, but unfortunately. Anyways, so we'll go up this staircase. Let's see what's here. Still the wall. So if we go all the way here, we notice some area of interest there. Except Steve's castle is full of traps, so I fell through. Fuck, man. So let's go up another level. So yeah, we see some kind of a house there, as well as here. And we see a bunch of bags of candy there, so might be something of interest there. So we continue up. And here we locate Steve's helicopter, which is armored and has a machine gun. So now we can do something about the air defenses here. Might as well. Just being careful because they do hit quite hard. And so you got Steve's helicopter, and you still want to infiltrate. You know that this will not let you fly through, and if you dismount here, you will fall right down to what's below. So it's a kind of helicopter air attack trap that you gotta be careful. So if you fall, you'll end up landing where a bunch of enemies are. So let's see if the smaller helicopter can get through. I think it might. Okay. Okay, so here the problem is there is a bunch of enemies, but we can see them and they're out of range. And these ones here, I'm kind of cheating, really. I could make them follow you, but whatever. So you grab all this candy and you end up with 5,000 health, and now you're ready to face Steve here. So let's take a look. Let's dismount here, and with 5,000 health, it's not a big deal. And touching this jack-o'-lantern is the victory condition. So we won. We can climb down here to note the machine gunners. We get out. Grab Steve's helicopter and let's explore the map a bit. So now that we have health and the machine gunner helicopter, let's now clean out Walter's base. So now we're fine. And Walter's base is basically a pyramid. Here you get some rockets, some more bonus health, machine gun, and more bonus health. And Walter's base also holds a secret right here. And I might as well show you. If you rocket one of these tiles right there, it leads to a hidden tunnel, which gives you access to the starship. And you see this tile, these dirt blocks are on a separate level or a separate layer. So now we have our starship with rockets. And we can clean out the level at this point. And now I'm going to show you the alternate quarry route. So as you recall, there's something interesting over there. So what we're gonna do is walk over here, grab a few rockets, and grab the rifle, and that's all we really need, and head back. So then we go down here and notice that there is something of a castle up there, but we really can't get up. But there is this cave down here. So we go down the cave. Ah, that's a bug, unfortunately. I'll have to redo that. So again, grab the rifle. So we know this cave here leads somewhere, which we can breach through with rockets. So we'll just do that. Grab our rifle and deal with the enemies over at Corey's outpost here. having crossed the moat. Shit. Should be fine. And we get a hold of Corey's hot air balloon. And this gives you that really accurate rifle. So now we can very gently make our way over to Steve's castle. So here is grab this bonus health. Here's the D-Box residence, I think. Grab this health. Shit. And the next house is the pyramid, of course. Wanna very carefully avoid it. And yeah, this long-range rifle gives you a big advantage here. So now let's descend down to avoid Steve's air defenses. So in this playthrough, I'll simulate, or I'll show something of a aerial attack on Steve's castle. So using Corey's balloon, we'll first take out the air defenses fairly easily. And then here we want to position ourselves let's see about here. And just drop in. So we'll find ourselves here. And from here we can too. And that's that. So a few ways you can beat it, you know, a few things you can do. Let's try scaling this wall just for fun. So here, yeah, I know I can do it, but it's not not in the mood, I guess. And if you get past Steve's castle, there is really nothing up ahead. Just another mountain, I think. Which you can jump off like that. And that's that.